Hi, my name is Victoria Chang, and I'm going to read a few poems for you from my book, Obit. Language. Language died on August 3rd, 2015 at 7:09 a.m. I heard about my mother's difficult nights. I hired a night person. By the time I got there, she was always gone. The night person had a name, but was like a ghost who left letters on my lips. Couldn't breathe 2:33 a.m., screaming 3:30 a.m., calm 4:24 a.m. I got on all fours, tried to pick up the letters like a child at an egg hunt without a basket. But for every letter I picked up, another fell down, as if protesting the oversimplification of my mother's dying. I wanted the night person to write in a language I could understand. Breathing unfolding 2:33, breathing in blades 3:30, breathing like an evening gown 4:24. But maybe I am wrong. How death is simply death, each slightly different from the next, but the final strike all the same. How the skin responds to a wedding dress in the same way it responds to rain. Memory. Memory died August 3rd, 2015. The death was not sudden, but slowly over a decade. I wonder if, when people die, they hear a bell, or if they taste something sweet, or if they feel a knife cutting them in half, dragging through the flesh like sheet cake. The caretaker who witnessed my mother's death quit. She holds the memory and images, and now they are gone. For the rest of her life, the memories are hers. She said my mother couldn't breathe, then took her last breath 20 seconds later. The way I have imagined a kiss with many men I have never kissed. My memory of my mother's death can't be a memory, but is an imagination. Each time the wind blows, leaves unfurl a little differently. Memory died on July 11th, 2015. When I returned from a trip, my mother on the edge of the bed, hair mostly white, black dye underneath like a memory. Sheets off the bed in a corner like crushed birds. The caretaker hadn't come for a week. My father, pacing, his hands tried to speak for him. Too much pressure on the hands. No one knew what happened that week but the hands. My mother had soiled herself. It was all over her hair that she had rolled in pink curlers one by one her whole life. She denied the soiling, yelled at me in Chinese for saying it. My child and I bathed her as she sat on the shower chair, naked, slumped over, a defeated animal. Death was still abstract. It could slip down the drain. Sadness was still indivisible. In 23 days, it would detonate and shower us like confetti. The water flattened my mother's hair and began burying her tongue. And I'll read one more called The Clock. The clock died on June 24th, 2009, and it was untimely. How many times my father has failed the clock test. Once I heard a scientist with Alzheimer's on the radio trying to figure out why he could no longer draw a clock. It had to do with the superposition of three types. The hours represented by 1 to 12, the minutes where 1 no longer represents 1 but 5, and a 2 now represents 10, then the second hand that measures 1 to 60. I sat at the stoplight and thought of the clock, its perfect circle and its superpositions, all the layers of complication on a plane of thought. Yet the healthy read the clock in one single instant without a second thought. I think about my father and his lack of first thoughts, how every thought is a second or third or fourth thought, unable to locate the first, most important thought. I wonder about the man on the radio and how far his brain has degenerated since. Marvel at how far our brains allow language to wander without looking back, but knowing where the pier is. If you unfold an origami swan and flatten the paper, is the paper sad because it has seen the shape of the swan, or does it aspire toward flatness, a life without creases? My father is the paper. He remembers the swan but can't name it. He no longer knows the paper swan represents an animal swan. His brain is the water the animal swan once swam in, holds everything. But when thawed, all the fish disappear. Most of the words we say have something to do with fish, and when they're gone, they're gone. Thank you.